What up YouTube, it's your boy Young Twan. I'm back with another video. So in this video, man, I got something special. I have this beat right here that I made. It's kind of in the style of like OZ, something OZ would cook up for Travis. It's a really tough, unique beat. I made the sample also from scratch, so it's a lot of sauce, and I'm gonna take you guys through the whole creative process and everything. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. So the first thing that I did when I started this beat, I went into Omnisphere and I picked this preset Atari Pong, and I went and laid down these chords with no effects. Here's what it sounds like. So I kept it very staccato. I just kept it, kept it moving. There was a lot of movement when I did this. And I went ahead and added some effects. So I added a H910 harmonizer with this ghostly preset. I added a reverb spring from Arturia, turning down the mix to about 50%. I used the Alt Gibbs small preset and just tweaked the blend to take it more from reverb to preamp. I used a Portal with the butterfly effect preset. I used Effect Rack with the Flange Dreams preset. I turned down the mix. Then I used an EQ, cutting a lot of the highs out. I used another EQ to cut the lows out. And I used a wave shell compressor just to bring it all back up. And this is what it sounds like now with the effects. So next up, I went in this Jupiter 8 Arturia synth. I picked this Blue Monday preset. I wanted to add like a bass line, and so I just copied the root notes and I created this bass line right here. As you can see, I muted a lot of these notes out, but yeah, here's what it sounds like. Woo.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Next up, I went into Arcade. Oh wait, I didn't actually show the effects on the bass. On the bass, it's nothing too crazy. I just added an effect rack, this basic amp enhancer. It was just to kind of bring out some of the lows and just, kind of boost it up. And I added this EQ to cut some of the highs, really to just get rid of all the highs and keep the lows, and yeah, boost up the lows. But so next up, I went into Arcade and I went in this 5 elements library, and I played this note right here, and it sounds like this. So yeah, it's very repetitive. It's just the same note the whole way through. But to that, I added a Portal with this phase preset and a Fab Filter EQ, just cutting the lows out. And yeah, if you want to hear it with the effects, that's what it sounds like. So yeah, it kind of just adds a tiny bit of delay and just some cool textures. Then next up, I went into Analog Lab and I picked this Dark West Trap preset. It's from a prod by HZE Analog Lab Bank. And here's what it sounds like. I just copied the chords, but I didn't have the staccato type of thing. This was a lot more like legato and just, just standard. And it sounds like this. So that's without any effects. Then I added some effects. I added a halftime with the half loop. I added a Portal with this fountain preset. And then finally I added an EQ, just cutting some lows out. And here's what it sounds like. This really was just to kind of add more depth to the sample and just more body to the sample, just make it sound more full. So I actually rendered that Analog Lab sound and I have it right here, and I ended up pitching it up 1 octave and reversing it and adding a couple of effects. So I'm just actually playing without the effects. Here's what it sounds like. Now, however, I still have it playing right here in this pattern too, so it plays for some part of the sample, just the standard version, the non-reverse version. So if you want to use both, you can. So to that reversed melody, I added a spring reverb from Arturia with this Gibbs Rooms preset and an EQ, cutting some highs and some lows, getting rid of these extra frequencies that are just taking up too much space. And that's pretty much it. Then what I did, I added this texture percussion loop. I'm pretty sure it sounds like this. So I pitched it down 1 octave and I routed it to mixer track 5, and I added these couple of effects. So I added this, I forget this outer space, I turned it off in the end, but I added this EQ, just getting rid of these harsh frequencies right here, and a bandpass narrow EQ from FabFilter. You know, again, just getting rid of the highs and the lows and keeping all the frequencies that I want. Next up, I added this ambience texture. I'm not entirely sure which kit it was from, but yeah, here's what it sounds like. So yeah, I'm not too sure if you could hear that, but I routed it to the same mixer track, the track 5, so it had this, the EQ doing a bandpass narrow, etc. And then finally, I added this really cool texture. I'm pretty sure this is from an Only One kit. It's like called Vinyl Birds, and it's just like a very kind of like atmospheric, and you know, it sounds like you're in a forest and you hear like little birds and stuff. So yeah, I actually routed it to mixer track 4. I'm not entirely sure why, but whatever. Fuck it.
You're that guy.
Okay.
Here's what it sounds like. So I actually turned down the volume by a whole lot, just to kind of blend it more in the sample. And then finally what I did, I just ended up rendering the whole sample out. If you're wondering what this is, the pattern 5 and pattern 6 and stuff, this is just a flute that I ended up taking out in the sample. It sounded like this. And this is the same, just pitched up. But I just preferred the sample the way it turned out. And so yeah, I rendered the whole sample, that I routed it to mixer track 9. And I added, this is like my master channel, I added a good hertz wow control with the good cassette preset, turning up the color and saturate a little bit lower. I added an EQ, just getting rid of some of these lows, like very, you know, lightly. Then I added a wave stereo one imager, just to kind of like stereo widen it, make sure it sounds full. I added this spin from Clefground with the default preset, turning down the mix to 10%, and finally a Waves pre-child compressor, just to kind of glue everything together and yeah, just pull it up a little bit. And this is what the final sample sounds like. I actually pitched it down to 2 semitones. So yeah, this is what it sounds like. It's pitched up 1 octave. So that's all for the sample. Now let's get on to the beat. So for this beat, I wanted the drums to be kind of just different. I didn't want it to be like just a straight hi-hat pattern, fill in each 2-step. I didn't want none of that. I wanted it to be very unique. The sample sounded kind of unique. It just sounded tough. And I just wanted to make a tough beat. So this is pretty much what I did.
Young Twan.
So yeah, I'm gonna take you guys through the drums. I actually ended up speeding it up. As you see, I bounced the sample at 152 BPM, but I increased the tempo to 158. So for the drums were just, I just have this clap and snare that is just layered. You know, very basic. Then I added the hi-hats. Then I gotta follow that bounce of the hi-hats and the clap with the kicks. So this is what I ended up coming up with. And then I had to go stupid on the 808s, and this is what I did. I picked this mellow 808. I wanted it to kind of just be way more like sub-bassy almost, but still, you know, stay at 808, but just not very much of a punchy 808. I wanted the punch to really stay with the kick and the 808 just to be so hard and gritty and dark. And this is what it sounds like. As you can see, I have this slide right here, just sliding down back to 1 octave, like A4. And yeah, basically that's it, really, you know, when you play with the sample. So yeah, very simple arrangement, just a 16-bar hook, 24-bar verse. I have this 8-bar bridge right here, right before going back into the hook, and just same thing throughout, you know, hook, verse, you know, bridge and hook again, and then the outro right here. If you're wondering what this automation is, it's just I have the EQ on the sample, just cutting all the lows out, because I did have a synth bass in my original sample, so when the 808s are coming in, I wanted to take out the synth bass. But when the 808s are not here, I wanted the synth bass to come back. So basically that's the reason why this automation is right here. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you could pick up some tricks here and there. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Run up my IG, link will be down in the description. If you got any questions, hit me up. I appreciate your support, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.